is the gliding side kick, or the shifting side kick. Now, gliding is probably one of the most effective ways to deliver a technique, in my opinion. I teach all my students to do this, and that's because you're moving and kicking at the same time. There's no tells, there's no precursor to the kick. When you decide to move, you are kicking at the same time. So as you've seen with the video before, the movement is you're pushing and driving your body weight forward into the kick. Now, a glide is just a jump. It's a very small jump, and I'm moving forward on one leg. So I'm going to show you now how to develop it, a few training aids, and how we can then obviously employ it into being effective for our training or our fighting. So, main point being is, when I'm doing the glide, I'm trying to move and kick. If I step up to the kick first, the person's going to see a movement before, so they're going to see me move. So they're going to obviously have some intel that I'm going to kick, or I'm going to at least do something. So if I'm skipping in or I step my back foot in, he's seen it. He's seen this move before he sees this move. If now I glide in, I'm pushing off the back leg. So all he's seen is when he sees it, my leg move, or me move, the kick's coming towards him. He's not seeing step, then kick. He's seeing move and kick. So it's a lot harder for the eyes to see it, because the eyes are going to identify a movement, and if they're seeing that coming towards them as one unit and the kick's coming out, it's a lot harder to defend. So the ways of doing this. Number one now is you're pushing off the back leg, you're driving your weight forward and you're sliding it along the floor into your kick. So you're trying to move and kick. Obviously this is quite a tricky technique to start with. A lot of people like to step in first, and it is hard to get that glide. So I'm going to give you a couple of training aids to help you. So the way I get people to start this is I say it's a jump. So it is a little jump, it's a little hop. So we're going to come onto one leg like so. So from there now we're going to hop and kick at the same time. So we're going to hop and kick. So I'm starting to build up the idea of moving and kicking at the same time. So I'm going to lift my leg up, I hop and kick. From there now again I just lift the leg up, I hop and kick. So from there, I want to make that movement smaller, or I want to make it more concealed. I can't just start my leg up in the air and then just hop and kick. So once you understand the idea of moving and kicking, we're going to go to having the foot on the floor. We're still going to hop, but we're going to make this back leg very heavy now. So from there now, my back leg's heavy, I'm going to try and just hop, so my front leg's nice and light. I'm going to push off my back leg and kick. So from there again, I put all my weight on my back leg, so it's loaded, so it's ready to hop. And now I'm just going to get this leg nice and light, so I pull back from my chamber, and I hop, and I kick. So I'm getting used to the idea of pushing off this back leg and driving my weight forward. I always say, imagine as I was pushing you down and pulling you forward. Now from there, obviously we need to make it a bit more effective, so I can't just drop my weight down and get ready to throw the kick and have my weight really heavy, because this is going to be a talent itself if I do this every time I'm going to kick. So we need to then disguise it. So I can put the weight on my back leg but try and make it look natural. So from there now you're going to think a heavy back leg, and then you're going to think a light front leg. So once you start doing this, so instead of being really loading the leg, you start to make it a bit more even. And then when you decide to move and kick, you go. So it doesn't matter how long it takes, get yourself in a position where you're going to push, and then you push and kick. So from there now, I'm just going to get the weight of the back leg, and when I'm ready, push and kick. So you're driving yourself forward. Once you get used to doing it like this, you start trying to put it into movement. So from there now, I might start trying to do it from a fighting stance. So I bounce a little bit, so I bounce, and then when the leg comes back, on my bounce, I drive myself forward. So you get used to doing it in a rhythm. Obviously, ideally, we want to get to a point where there's a broken rhythm, or you can throw it from any position, so you don't have to be moving. You can just lift and drive the weight forward, but that's hard. So to start with, we want to do it in rhythm, so you could do it at least in movement. So from there now, you're just going to be bouncing a little bit. You're bouncing, and then when the weight comes on the back leg, that's when you're going to push and drive yourself forward. Now, if there's any point that you get stuck on a step, or you find it hard, or you've noticed that you're stepping forward, important thing is get someone to watch you kick. Get them to tell you if they see that back leg move. Number two, film yourself training, so you can watch it back so you know if you're moving or you're stepping up first. If you find that you get into a stage, you're getting stuck, or you're finding it hard, go back a stage. So if you're finding that when it comes to loading the back leg, you step, get back to here, get back to moving and kicking. So once we can do it with one kick, we start building it up to what we call like a pump side kick. So this would be a feint side kick into a real one, or a real one with a follow-up side kick. It's a contingency plan. If the person moves out the way of the first kick, or they somehow see it, you've got a second one following in. But because my weight's driving in, it's a very strong kick. It's not just my leg, it's my whole body going into the kick. So once you get used to doing it with one kick, so you're here, you're driving in, you're going to try it with a double kick. So this time now you go back to starting, so you go move, kick, so you do a double pump. And then when you get used to it then, you push, 1, 2. Then again, when you get used to it, try and do it in movement, so you're here like this, 1, 2. And then as you get more used to it, you try and then just make it natural, so you can just be moving. You can drive it out whenever you want, you're there. You start throwing that kick out however you want to do it. Now you can use the same principle with punching, you can use the same principle with roundhouse kicks, with hook kicks, with axe kicks. Side kick's more effective because it's a forward technique, it's a straight line technique, it's a powerful technique, so I'm driving my body behind it. Now this is very good and very effective at concealing anything that you're doing. Once you get used to then doing the double or the pump, start challenging yourself. Start mixing up the kicks. Start going side kick into a hook kick, side kick into a roundhouse. So from there now, when you hear you're bouncing, you push, 1, 2. So similar to like a question mark kick. From there then, when you're practicing 1, 2, you start building into your side kick into your hook kick. If the person can't predict when you're going to kick and what kick you're going to do, it's going to make it very hard for them to be able to decipher you, to be able to combat what you're trying to do. Now, this makes you deceptive. This makes you be able to get to them before they can get to you. Now, training aids for this, you need a strong back leg. You need that driving force. So the best way to do this now, I always say, is practice on one leg now. Little one-legged squats. Try and build the strength in your back leg. 2, to practice the drive, squat yourself down, push up off the leg. So I get used to now driving up and then chambering. So I'm building this strength, I squat down, keep the legs straight, drive up, chamber. Then you get used to practicing how to drive, squat up, and then I drive myself into the kick. So what you're doing is you're building up the muscles, you're making a big movement to make the small movement more effective. So remember the key points of the glide, you're moving and kicking at the same time. It's a small hop, so you're hopping into the kick, but you're making it minuscule, so it's like you're gliding across the floor. You can't give a pre-tell. You can't give a precursor. You can't give a tell to the kick, so you have to do it naturally. So the main points, like I said, from there now you're pushing off the back leg, you're driving your body forward, you're gliding across the floor, you're moving and kicking. So when I decide to go, I move and kick, so I'm gliding into the technique. Once you can do it, start pumping, so you're doing a double glide. Once you can do a double side kick or double glide side kick, pump side kick, you start adding other kicks. You add a hook kick, you add a roundhouse kick going through. So have a little play around with it, see how you do. Obviously, if you get stuck at one stage, go back to the one before, get it solid, get it more effective, and then push yourself forward.